In this video, we will see how we can send an SMS. The sending of SMS uses the alarms feature of T-Box, which we define in those folders here. And an alarm is based on 3 items. So for sending an alarm, we need a condition. So the condition is a tag that will vary, and according to the variation, it will send an SMS. So it's the changing of a digital tag, or it's a threshold for an analog tag, a min or a max. Then we need a recipient. To whom are we going to send the information? And third, we need data. Are we going to send a message, or are we going to send a report? Let's start with recipient. In the alarms folder, we go to the recipients folder. We click add a recipient and we select pager SMS. Then we have to select a service according to the SIM card installed in the T-Box. And the list of SIM cards correspond to the country where T-Box is installed. So in this case, it's in Belgium. So I only see Belgian services. So you will have to adapt the country where your T-Box is. So you do this in RTU properties and you select the country where your T-Box is. Let's say it is in UK. So I select UK. I go back to recipient, SMS, and now I see the services available in UK. Okay, in my case, I am in Belgium, so I have to put back Belgium. Okay, so I select the recipient, I select the service corresponding to the SIM card in my T-Box, I select which modem I am going to use. Well, I have only one, and I type the phone number of the recipient I want to send a message to. And that's all. Yeah, of course I have to put a name. Now we have to define a condition. So the condition is a tag. So let's take a look to our list of tags, what tag we have. Okay, remember we are monitoring a water distribution. So we have a tower, a water tower, which has a level. Imagine that I want to receive an SMS if the level is below 2.5 meters. Remember that my water level is scaled from 2 to 10, representing 2 to 10 meters with a resolution of 1 centimeter. So this tag will constitute my alarm condition. So I go to condition, add an alarm. I select the tag, water level. I select minimum, could be maximum or minimum. I select the value 2.5 and I select an hysteresis of let's say 0.1 to avoid multiple alarms when the value is moving around the threshold. I select the recipient, myself, okay, and I select the message, and the message will be level too low. And I can even include the value of a tag by inserting $, the name of the tag, $. Okay, this will include the value of this tag into the SMS. And that's it. So the 3 items I need are done. So I've created the recipient, I've created the condition, and the message I have created it when doing the condition. So my message is here available. I can edit it if I want. Yes, I will edit it because I see that I missed one O here. So it's level too low, like this. Okay. Now I will add an advanced feature, because when I receive this SMS, I would like to know from which T-Box it comes from. So I can add a prefix to each SMS message that it includes the name of the station where it comes from. So for this I have to go into the RTU properties. In RTU properties we have a tab Advanced. In the tab Advanced I have a sub-tab Alarms, and there I have GSM and prefix message, and you see %station %, so it means that this information will be replaced by the name of the station, meaning the name of my T-box. And I can put space, colon, space, and then following will be the message that I have defined here in my list of messages. Okay. Now we can send this to T-box and make the test. Program has been sent. Now I will show you at the same time the hardware and the list of tags so that you can see what happens on the T-box when the alarm is generated. In fact, we have a LED here which indicates the T-box is in alarms. So the alarm condition is this tag here. So when I will drop the value down to 2.5 so that it generates the alarm. So you can see the value changing, 5, 4. So when it goes to, you see it's gone below 2.5, and okay, it has gone very fast. The LED was burning. You have heard my GSM had received the SMS. Let's take a look to the SMS. So here is the message. We can see John, the name of the station, then the message, and finally 2.49, which is the level in the tank. As you can see, simple and easy. One problem you might be facing is that the service corresponding to your SIM card is not available. Well, either because it's a new operator or because you work in a country where we haven't worked yet. So those services are declared in a text file, which you can find in the directory of Twinsoft. So this is where directory of Twinsoft is. The file is called pages.dat. So this is the file. In the file, we have listed all the countries, for instance, United Kingdom, Vietnam, and so on. So if the service does not exist, you have to copy-paste all this, and you just change the name that will appear in Twinsoft, which is here, the country where the service is, and the SMS center. The SMS center distributes the SMS. When one sends an SMS, it does not send the SMS directly to the mobile. It sends the SMS to this number, and this number will forward the SMS to the end recipient. If the sending of SMS doesn't work, well, that can still happen. First, you should check the recipient number, so make sure that you have the right number, that you should maybe put the country code plus something, well, depending on the country where you are. But there is another feature that very, very useful, not only regarding sending of SMS, but regarding any feature of T-Box, is the trace log. T-Box is recording data, internal data, in an internal log, which is accessible from retrieve from T-Box, trace log. And I can go back 20 minutes before. So the log is downloaded. So if I go back, I can see, I can start from the startup of the CPU. It initialized the hardware it has, the modules. It initialized the modem. So there are a lot of lines here. So most of them correspond to modem state. Remember, we have a communication variable called modem state, where it corresponds to all those different steps. Then we can see that the GSM is connected to a 4G network. We can see that the level is 2 on a range of 5, so which is quite average signal. Then we can see the PPP negotiation to acquire the IP address from the operator. And we can see the sending of the SMS here with the class pager. And you might look here if you can see any problem related to the GSM or related to the sending of SMS. Another useful tool is the list of alarms. In fact, T-Box is recording its alarm into a log, and this is available in Retrieve from T-Box Alarms, and we can see this list. It can store up to 512 alarms, and after that the principle is first in, first out, so the oldest alarm will be removed from the list. So it records alarms like the SMS I have sent. It also records some internal events like sending a new program or a reset. I've just pushed on the reset button to restart T-Box. This is all recorded into the list. For alarm events, we have start columns and end columns, which relates to the condition. So the start indicates when the condition was true, and the end informs when the condition went back to normal. And for each start and end, we have an acknowledgement status. Acknowledge means the alarm was sent successful. Auto acknowledge means the alarm was not sent successful, it failed, or it was not required. In the case of this alarm here, in fact, the sending of an alarm at the end of condition was not required. Let's take a look to that. So in our alarm condition, in the configuration, I have this notify end of alarm, which I can check. And if I check it, it means when the alarm will return to normal, meaning when the value is above 2.5 plus hysteresis 0.1. So when the value is back to 2.6, the condition is finished, and it will send a new alarm with the prefix I can define myself to indicate it's the end of this alarm. So let's take a look to this prefix. Okay. In the advanced properties of the RTU, in the alarms, where we have defined here the prefix for the SMS message, we have a default prefix for end. So it's by default end, and I can put a space here. So when the alarm will be finished, T-Box will send with the same message, but an end in front of the message. Let's send this to T-Box. Let's take a look to the hardware and the LED activity as well as our water level. So the alarm will be generated when the level is below 2.5. So let's drop the value. So 2.5. Not yet. Here. So you see it generates the alarms. Now, alarm has been generated. You've heard my mobile has received the SMS. We see that the alarm is done. If I take a look into the alarm list, I will see that, okay, this I have done a test before. So this alarm here, the start has been acknowledged. The recipient is myself. But you see for the end, nothing, because I am still in alarm condition. So you see my level is still below my threshold. So if I go above my threshold, it generates a new alarm. It's gone. My mobile has received it. And if I look into my list of alarms, I see now I have an end timestamp and an acknowledged event. So it means the sending of the end of the condition has succeeded also. So my alarm condition has started at 8 minutes 14 seconds and it has ended at 8 minutes 56 seconds. Let's take a look to the message itself. Here we can see both messages, the first one corresponding to the start condition and the second one with the prefix end corresponding to the end of the alarm condition. Let's discuss about acknowledgement. So we have seen the acknowledgement is associated to the start and end of the condition. So Alarm constitute, I repeat, an outgoing connection, and the acknowledgement is the monitoring of this connection. It informs you on the connection. When an alarm is generated and not sent yet, it is not acknowledged. That is what you would see into the list of alarms. When the sending succeeds, the alarm is acknowledged. If the alarm fails after the number of tries, we will see the number of tries, the alarm is auto-acknowledged. And there is a system variable which informs you on the fact that an alarm has been auto-acknowledged, which constitute an error for the system. So first the number of tries. If we go to the recipient, we see that the recipient has a certain number of tries. By default, it's 4. If it fails after 4 tries, the alarm is acknowledged. Not acknowledged because it succeeded, but auto-acknowledged by the system, because we cannot keep going, sending and sending all the time the same alarm. By the way, in a recipient, you can associate a timetable that you will define here, which allows you to define, for instance, day shift, night shift, these kind of things. Back to our acknowledgement error. So, as we have seen, there is a system variable alarm error which shows you this. So we go to resources, system variable, digital, alarm error. Where is it? Here. So if an alarm has been auto-acknowledged, this flag will change to 1. And you can use it into your process to take some actions. You could send another alarm, send an email, switch on a lamp, do something. And the recipient which is concerned is, in the analog one, we have the alarec. So it's a system variable which indicates the ID of the recipient. Well, at the moment I have only one recipient, but if an alarm fails on the recipient 5 or 6, so this alarm error will change to 1. This will be at 6 because it's the current recipient that failed. And in your process you can take some actions based on the fact that this recipient failed. This ends the video in which we have seen the principles of sending alarms illustrated by the sending of an SMS. Let's take a look to the questionnaire. The questions for this lesson. So, as a reminder, use always the same application. So you define a recipient with a service corresponding to your SIM card. If the service does not exist, you can try to create it or just send us a mail. Create an alarm condition, like explained here, and check the option Notify End of Alarm. Change the prefix for SMS in RTU Properties Advanced Alarms, like mentioned here. Send to T-Box and generate alarms. Take a snapshot of the list of alarms where we can see both start and end of the alarm which are acknowledged. Go to Communication, retrieve trace log and save the trace log. Send us a mail with the application, the snapshot of the list of alarm, the trace log. Good luck.